Joining me right now for more analysis on tax reform, former economic advisor to President Ronald Reagan, Mr. Art Laffer. Good to see you.
Good to see you, Trish. How are you today?
I'm great. You know, Art, I know you love tax cuts. I know you love them. I love them too. But in this particular case, as you just heard me working it out there with Tony.
I did.
Not everybody's getting a tax cut.
Well, these people, I mean, a couple things missing in your conversation, not yours specifically, but first place, it gets rid of the alternative minimum tax, which does take away some of the state and local tax deductions that had been used before. That's number one. But number two, the whole purpose of this is not to reduce people's taxes, it's to get economic growth and have them pay more in taxes, not because their tax rates are higher, but because they earn a lot more. And the very highest income earners, when you look at the incidence of what happens when the corporate tax is cut, they will be beneficiaries of this tax cut dramatically. Believe me when I tell you, if we drop the highest rate on corporations from 35 to 20, that will mean a huge appreciation in the stock market, which impacts these people very directly.
That's true. I think that a lot of high earners have a lot of money in the market, and so one would think, I'm looking at the Dow right now, 23,581. I've had predictions as high as 25,000 if this actually happens, Art. So one would think, yes, it would be a boost to earnings, it would be a boost to corporations, and therefore a boost to high earners' portfolios.
Yep.
Okay.
I mean, it really would. That's very true. And, you know, it'll lead to prosperity, less welfare, less payments. It'll lead to higher revenues, tax revenues, smaller deficits. I mean, all of this will happen if we go through it.
That's if. So the question is, are you going to run into another, well, health care situation, right? Obama repeal and replace, which was promised and didn't happen because there's a breakdown in the Republican Party. Do you think they're going to be able to coalesce and come together around this one?
I think they're going to come together, but what do I know? That's not my specialty. But let me just say what I really do think is I don't know what the Democrat strategy is. I know a lot of the Democratic senators would like to vote for a bill like this. They really would, but they stick together just basically to boycott Trump. And, you know, to me, that's not good governance, and I don't know how they plan to use this obstructionist strategy to win politically. I mean, it's true. The Republicans, if they don't get it over the goal line, that'll be a big black eye for the Republicans. But the reason they didn't get it over the goal line is not one single Democrat voted to repeal ACA or voted for the tax bill.
They've got themselves, right? They should be, if they stuck together and they, you know, played as one team, then they wouldn't have to go and be looking for handouts from the Dems. I agree with you. It should be bipartisan, and this is well,
the Dems should vote normally. They're people just like all the rest of us. They should vote what's good policy, what's not good policy. I understand the partisanship and all that, but this type of obstructionist stuff is just crazy. It's the way the Dems passed the ACA, and that's really not the right way to be, Trish. It's just
so, Art, what can you say to fiscal conservatives and some Dems out there that say we're worried about how much money this is going to cost?
I am very worried about that, too, but I don't think this one's going to cost us any money because, frankly, with faster economic growth, we're going to see higher tax revenues, not lower tax revenues. We're going to see the deficit falling, not rising as a result of this. The one thing that generates tax revenues is economic growth, period. If you look at it under Kennedy, when we had the go-go 60s, we had surpluses. Under Clinton, when we had the huge boom under Bill Clinton and Ronald Reagan, we had surpluses. If you look at the 1974 period, where we had bipartisan ignorance galore, we had huge deficits. And you look at the Obama W period there with the big spend, we had huge deficits. Economic growth is the only way to balance the budget and to create tax revenues. You can't balance a budget on the backs of those who are unemployed, who leave your jurisdiction, or aren't working at full capacity. You just can't, Trish. You need growth.
I know. We need it. We need it bad.
And that's it.
If we get it, what do you think? 3%, 4%, even 5%?
I think it's 5%. Yes, I do. And maybe even a little bit more. You know I'm that way.
I mean,
know
under Reagan, are. I love hearing it. I agree with you, actually.
From January 1st, 1983 to June 30th, 1984, in that 18-month period, we grew by 12%. 8% per annum. It was amazing. Kennedy go-go 60s was incredible period. Even Clinton had high growth.
Well, this is why I say you don't have to be a Republican to cut taxes.
No, in fact, normally the Republicans aren't the ones who do it, except for be still my heart, Ronald Reagan.
Art Laffer, thank you. Very good
to see you.
Thank
you, Trish.